Hello, everybody. It's good to see you again. My name's Ed Pavlik. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, and my colleague here is
Frank Lawton from London, United Kingdom.
Today, we're going to take on a paper that is a big international effort that examines the benefits of bilateral oophorectomy to women positive for BRCA1 and BRCA2 pathologic variants. This report was recently published in JAMA Oncology by a research group composed of investigators in Canada, the United States, Poland, Norway, Austria, and Italy. My view is this work is important because it presents extended follow-up on an international scale. So if we look at this paper, what we'll see is the list of people is quite extensive, and it corresponds to a group led in Canada. So let me just say this, that you have to have an awareness of what's going on in what they did. And that awareness comes from the design. The design takes people who are already predetermined to have BRCA1 and BRCA2 variants, and then to follow them under conditions where they did not have a oophorectomy, or they did have a oophorectomy. And then to place the follow-up into a window where people had to be at least 35 years old and no older than 70 years old. With that being said, these investigators have found that there's a real benefit to oophorectomy. And the benefit is considerable, and I'm trying to pull it up for you right now to show it to you. What we can see here is that we're considering a variable to be age at oophorectomy, and then second variable will be survival times, and they're going to combine both of these looks in the study. Now, the study basically originated with 17,000 women, and of 3/4 of these women who were positive for BRCA1 and BRCA2 really were excluded from the study. So they ended up with about 4,300 women, give or take. The end result of what they found was that oophorectomy resulted in about a 70 to 80% decrease in mortality. And that's over following things for people who received an oophorectomy at 35 and followed them to no later than them being 75 years old. With this in mind, they also looked at the individual risk presented by if they were just BRCA1 positive or just BRCA2 positive. And really the extent of what they found was the same protection against mortality was presented. So BRCA1 looks like this, and which you can see the benefit on mortality. Oophorectomy reduced it, and BRCA2 looks like this. The overall mortality due to BRCA2 is lower than BRCA1. With this in mind, they looked at a variety of cases that appeared in the follow-up period, and the real take-home here is the biggest benefit, which is over a tenfold benefit in the hazard ratio, was to people who eventually presented with ovarian cancer. there was probably a 50% or 100%, depending upon how you normalize it, benefit for oophorectomy in people who would present with breast cancer. And all the other cancers that did appear in this cohort really were very minorly affected by oophorectomy. A variety of factors were considered as cofactors, covariants, smoking, contraceptive use, parity, hormone replacement therapy, mastectomy, and these are all covariants which were examined to be not as powerful as the things that are reported on in the study. Now, the things that I'll call out to you that are sort of very interesting is the fact that this is not a first-time study. The 2024 study that you can see here on the far right extends a previous study of 10 years earlier by a 9-year follow-up, and it has a greater number of people that were followed who got cancer, and these are shown by the green fonts. And also it was expanded to 16 countries. So in a sense, what do we know from this study? Well, we know, as shown in red on the hazard ratio, that about the same protection occurs in the expanded study in 2024 as it occurred in the study that was 10 years earlier. And that study itself was a study that was really an expansion of a study started in 2006. All of these studies have been published in very good places. And I think the take home, on this is that the benefit of oophorectomy is is greatest for protecting against ovarian cancer and a little bit against breast cancer. So that's the long and the short of the study. I think the way I look at it is these protective effects extend to people who could be older, in other words, 50 and older. And so there should not be a reason to say, well, I'm over the hill. I'm not going to get this type of protection. Frank, that's about it. What do you got to add?
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it, that when we were discussing this paper, I overlooked it because I thought we all knew that. I mean, I've worked in a genetics clinic, and it was our belief, and I thought we have the data that says if you have your ovaries removed and you're a BRCA carrier, you will do better than if you don't have your ovaries removed. And I was surprised that this paper has been published. The two things that I think, or three things I think, one is the interest that clearly has been shown. If to go from 2 centers to 7 countries and whatever it is, really is this paper is a very, very good collaborative paper, finally showing that the role of prophylactic oophorectomy in the prevention of breast and ovarian cancer and possibly some other cancers in BRCA carriers. The other thing of interest, I think, is that it's good to know that the deaths from non-cancers were not increased in the oophorectomy arm. There was always a worry, I think, that, oh, they're all going to they'll end up with osteoporosis because they've had their ovaries removed, and then they'll have a fractured hip and there'll be all sorts of problems. So I think not only has it shown that this is a positive benefit for ovarian and breast cancer, but it's also not a negative, hasn't a negative effect on general health. And as you were saying, women who have any second thoughts, really, because they are postmenopausal, about the benefit of removing ovaries if you're a BRCA carrier, the data are there now, and I think it'll allow the medical profession to talk with even more understanding and emphasis on the role of prophylactic surgery in these cases. I think it's a very, very good paper.
Very good. Well, Frank, we've done it again. We've wrapped it up, and I look forward to doing this again with you, next month.
Yeah.
So don't do anything foolish. Enjoy the weather. Don't get run over by horses.
Okay.
And we'll call it quits. You take care.
Okay then. See you next month.
Okay. Bye.